The Young and the Restless YNR recap for Wednesday, June 10th, reveals that Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, will sound the alarm over Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, potentially being in danger before Victor makes a dramatic entrance at the GCAC. For starters, Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, will complain to Chelsea Lawson, Melody Thomas Scott, about Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, rejecting his olive branch, but she'll suggest he should have known trying to make peace would fail. Chelsea will urge Adam to think of how he'd feel if something had happened to Connor Newman, Judah Mackey, and basically push him to accept things are always going to be this way with Billy because of Delia Abbott, Sophie Polono. That said, Chelsea won't want Adam to get consumed by the tension with Billy, and will basically point out that he can always walk away before things get ugly. Nikki will eventually rush in with concerns since she heard about a tornado happening at the country club in Maryland where Victor was attending a fundraiser. Adam and Chelsea won't see reports of casualties online, but Nikki will remain on edge. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, will show up once Nikki summons him and will try to offer reassurance. Victor will eventually appear after his Beyond the Gates crossover and reveal that his plane had already taken off when he got news about the tornado. After Victor expresses confidence that everyone's all right, he'll insist that includes Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, since he was also in attendance. Victor will assume Jack is the one Nikki was actually worried about. After Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, bails on the Shadow Room's grand opening early, she'll bump into Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, and have a civil conversation with him. Nate will end up talking about medicine and how it's been on his mind lately. Audra will get Nate thinking about whether he'd return to surgery if someone could fix his hand. Since Audra will hear more passion in Nate's voice when he talks about medicine than when he talks about business, she'll leave him with something to think about. Nate will ultimately flash back to hurting his hand, losing his surgical career and getting hired by Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, so he'll seem pensive. Speaking of Lily, YNR spoilers say she'll have a nice date with Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, who'll admit he told Malcolm Winters, Shamar Moore, that he was in love with her. Kane will acknowledge that admission didn't go over well, but Lily will point out that Malcolm trusts her judgment when it comes to putting Kane in charge of Chancellor. Lily will be ready to go public with her new CEO announcement and stick it to Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley. Once Danny Romalotti, Michael Damian, heads to the Shadow Room, he'll apologize for not keeping in touch since he had transportation trouble and phone problems. Daniel Romalotti Jr., Michael Graziade, and Christine Blair Romalotti, Laura Lee Bell, will be taken aback when Danny admits he wants to retire from the road permanently. Despite Daniel's skepticism about Danny actually retiring, he'll like the idea of having his dad around more, and so will Christine. After Danny sees that Sienna is overwhelmed behind the bar, he'll head over to help her out. Christine will also express hope to Daniel that Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, has actually learned a lesson and can perhaps try being humble. When Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, tells Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, that this club must bring back memories, he'll hope she's not busting his chops over what did or didn't happen at the old version of the Shadow Room. Claire will insist she was just going to ask if the drink menu was the same, and will think it seems like Holden is the ones fixating on his past. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Holden will do his best to shake off what happened, but more trouble could be brewing. The morning light filters through the heavy curtains, but the room feels cold. Nikki Newman, 70s, elegant but currently frazzled, is pacing the length of the rug. She holds her phone in one hand, a tablet in the other. Her knuckles are on the large television screen, a news crawler at the bottom of a weather channel reads, "Severe weather update. Massive tornado touchdown in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Casualties reported at local country club." Nikki stops, her breath hitching. She stares at the screen. Nikki, to herself, a whisper, "Maryland. Whoa. No, Victor, please." She frantically taps her phone, dialing. We hear the ringing. 1, 2, 3. 4 times. Voicemail. "You have reached the office of Victor Newman. Please leave a message." Nikki slams the phone down on the coffee table. She looks at her hand, it's shaking. She tries to pick up a glass of water, but her vision suddenly blurs. Gray, static-like haze edges into the corners of her sight. She blinks rapidly, rubbing her eyes. Nikki, not now. Not today. She reaches for the tablet, trying to refresh a news feed. The headline pops up. Beyond the Gates fundraiser interrupted by massive storm. Nikki, voice trembling, he was right there. He was right in the middle of it. She grabs her phone again, her fingers flying across the screen. It's contact. Nick. Nikki, into phone. Nick. Nick, thank God. Have you heard the news? It's Maryland. Your father was at that fundraiser. There's been a tornado. Can't get a hold of him. I can't get a hold of the pilot. I need you here. She hangs up before he can even respond. She stands there, framed by the opulence of the ranch, looking small and terrified. Fade out. Genoa City Athletic Club, GCAC. Dining area, day. Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman are seated at a corner table. The atmosphere is tense. Adam is staring at his coffee. His expression sour. Adam, I don't know why I bother, Chelsea. I really don't. Chelsea, sighing. You went there with a peace offering, Adam. That's a good thing. Adam, an olive branch that Billy Abbott took, snapped in half and tried to jam into my eye. I told him we needed to move past the history for the sake of the kids, for the sake of any kind of stability in this town, and he looked at me like I was a monster. Chelsea, to Billy, you are the monster. You have to understand that. He looks at you and he sees Delia. He always will. Adam, sharply. It's been years, Chelsea. Decades. I have lived every day with that guilt. But I can't change the past. If he keeps holding on to that hate, it's just going to poison everything. Connor and Johnny are brothers. They shouldn't have to inherit this war. Chelsea, I agree. But you can't force him to forgive you. Peace isn't something you can demand, Adam. You have to earn it, and even then he might never give. Adam looks away, toward the window. Chelsea, and think about it. If something happened to Connor, God forbid, would you be able to sit across a table from the person responsible and just be civil? Adam, quietly. I'd want to burn the world down. Chelsea, exactly. So give him some grace. Or better yet, walk away. Don't let the tension consume you. You've worked too hard on yourself to let Billy Abbott pull you back into the darkness. Adam starts to reply, but his phone buzzes. It's a news alert. He frowns. Adam, wait. Look at this. He turns the phone so Chelsea can see. Chelsea, a tornado. In Maryland. Adam, the fundraiser. My father was there. Adam's cynical mask slips for a second, replaced by genuine concern. Adam, and Nikki's going to be losing her mind. Fade out. The shadow room day. The grand opening is in full swing, but it's a midday mixer. Audra Charles is standing near the bar, looking at her watch. She looks stunning as always, but there's a restless energy about her. She turns to leave, nearly colliding with Nate Hastings. Nate, whoa. Leaving so soon. The party's just getting started. Audra, I've had my fill of business networking for one morning, Nate. Besides, I have things to attend to. Nate, you always have things to attend to. Or people to manipulate. Audra gives him a sharp, knowing smile. Audra, I prefer the term strategize. And what about you? You look thoughtful. Almost melancholy. That's a dangerous look for a man with your ambitions. Nate, I was just watching the crowd. Thinking about how much energy people put into these games. The power, the titles. It all feels a bit hollow today. Audra, softening slightly. That doesn't sound like the Nate Hastings I know. Man who wanted to rule Newman Enterprises. Nate, maybe the man who wanted to rule Newman was compensating for the man who couldn't be a doctor anymore. Audra stops. She looks at his hand, the one that ended his surgical career. Audra, do you miss it? Medicine. Nate, every day. I saw a report this morning about a new neuroreconstructive technique being trialed in Europe. For a second I found myself reading the Medical journals instead of the Wall Street Journal. Audra leaning in. Then why are you here? In a suit talking about mergers. That's where your passion is, Nate. If someone could fix that hand, would you? Go back. Nate in a heartbeat. But life isn't a fairy tale, Audra. Audra, no, it's a series of opportunities. And you sound more alive talking about a scalpel than you ever did talking about a spreadsheet. Don't bury that. They lock eyes for a moment. There's a rare moment of genuine connection before. Audra's phone pings. She checks it, her face going pale. Audra, and, my God. A tornado hit the country club in Maryland. Nate, the one Victor was at. Audra nods, her eyes wide. Fade out. Newman Ranch. Living room, day. Nick Newman bursts through the front doors. Nick, Mom. Nikki is standing by the window, clutching a pillow to her chest. He turns and Nick is shocked by how haggard she looks. Nikki, Nick. Oh, thank God. Have you heard anything? Nick, I've been trying the pilot's cell and the Newman jet's transponder. Everything's down in that area. The storm knocked out the towers. Nikki, hysterical. He could be under the rubble. The reports say the roof collapsed at the club. Jack was there too. They were all there for that beyond the gates event. Nick, Mom, listen to me. Dad is Victor Newman. He has a sixth sense for trouble. He's probably already a mile away from the storm, grumbling about the delay. Nikki, wiping tears. You didn't see the footage, Nick. It was a monster. Direct hit. She stumbles slightly. Nick catches her by the elbows. Nick, whoa. Izzy. You're shaking. When was the last time you ate? Or slept? Nikki, I can't think about that. I need to get to Maryland. Call the secondary pilot. Get the other jet ready. Nick, the airspace is closed, Mom. No one is flying into a disaster zone. We have. Wait. Nikki, voice rising. I can't wait. Every time he leaves, I think. What if this is the time he doesn't come back? What if our last conversation was about some stupid business deal? Nick, Mom, sit down. Please. He guides her to the sofa. Nikki sits, but she's vibrating with tension. Nikki, I have this feeling, Nick. Terrible, dark feeling. Like the world is closing in. She rubs her eyes again. Nikki, and everything is so blurry. The room is spinning. Nick, it's the stress. You know how it flares when you're like this. Just breathe. For me. Just breathe. Fade out. The shadow room, day. In another corner of the club, Victoria Newman and Kyle Abbott are standing near a floral arrangement. They are both looking at their phones. Kyle, my dad isn't answering. Neither is Diane. They were supposed to be at the same table as your father. Victoria, I know. This is a nightmare. Kyle, look, Victoria. I know our families are, well, at odds is an understatement lately. With your father trying to dismantle Jabot and my father retaliating. Victoria, interrupting. It doesn't matter. Not right now. Kyle, I agree. I don't want to fight today. I just want to know they're safe. We call a truce. Just for today. No business, no schemes. Just two people. Worried about their parents. Victoria, nodding. A truce. Like that, Kyle. My father can be a lot. I know he's been pushing your father's buttons. Kyle, and my dad hasn't exactly been a saint in this. But seeing that footage of the tornado, it puts everything into perspective. All the corporate raiding in the world doesn't mean a thing if the people you love are gone. Victoria, softly. I've spent so much of my life trying to prove myself to him. Trying to be the perfect Newman heir. If I lost him now, I don't think I'd know who I am. Kyle, he's Victor. He's indestructible. Victoria, I used to believe that. Now I just want to hear his voice. Fade out. Lobby day. The lobby is crowded. People are gathered around the monitors. Adam and Chelsea have moved from their table to the center of the room. Nikki and Nick arrive. Nikki looking like she's about to collapse. Adam, Nikki. Adam rushes over, surprisingly concerned. Adam, thunted. Any word? Nikki, nothing. Not a word. Chelsea, the news is saying they've started search and rescue. They're pulling people out of the basement of the country club. Nikki gasps, clutching Nick's arm. Nikki, the basement. Nick, it's the safest place to be in a tornado, Mom. That's good news. Means they had time to seek shelter. Suddenly, the front doors of the athletic club swing open with a violent force. The room goes silent. Standing in the doorway is Victor Newman. He is impeccably dressed in a dark suit. Not a hair is out of place. He looks like he just stepped off a runway, not out of a disaster zone. He holds a leather briefcase in one hand. Victor, booming voice. What is all this long-faced silence for? Fade out. Lobby. Continuous. Nikki lets out a sob that is half scream, half laugh. She lunges across the lobby, throwing herself into Victor's arms. Nikki, Victor. Oh my God, Victor. Victor drops his briefcase and catches her, holding her tightly. He kisses the top of her head. Victor, easy, my baby. Easy. I'm right here. Nick, relieved. Dad. How? We saw the news. The club was leveled. Adam and Chelsea approach, stunned. Adam, you were supposed to be right in the path of it. Victor pulls back slightly to look at Nikki, then addresses the group, his eyes twinkling with that familiar arrogant spark. Victor, the first was at the fundraiser, yes. I met with several prominent donors. We discussed the crossover with the Gates Foundation. I looked at the sky. Didn't like the color of it. Nick, so you just left. Victor, the first told the pilot to have the engines running. We took off 10 minutes. Before the sirens went off. We were above the clouds by the time the funnel touched down. I watched it from 30,000 feet. Nikki, hitting his chest lightly. You didn't call. I've been in agony, Victor. Thought you were dead. Victor, the cell towers were down, Nikki. And the satellite phone was experiencing interference from the storm's electromagnetic field. As soon as we landed at the private strip, I came straight here. Nikki, I was so scared. Victor, turning to Nick and Adam. I am a Newman. I don't let a little wind get in my way. He looks around the room, his gaze landing on Victoria and Kyle, who have just rushed in from the shadow room. Victoria, Dad. She hugs him. Victor pats her back. Victor, I'm fine, Victoria. Quite fine. Kyle, stepping forward. Mr. Newman. My father? Jack Abbott. He was at your table. Did he get out? Victor's expression hardens just a fraction. The old rivalry never truly sleeps. He looks at Nikki, then back to Kyle. Victor, your father, Jack was still at the bar when I left. He was deep in conversation with some Gates representatives. Nikki panicked again, so he was there when it hit. Victor, to Nikki with a pointed look. I'm sure Jack is fine, Nikki. He has a habit of surviving, much to my chagrin. I saw him being led toward the storm cellar by the club staff as we were driving to the airfield. He's likely sitting in a basement right now, complaining about the vintage of the wine they've tucked away down there. Nikki, we have to find out. We have to make sure. Victor, dryly. I'm touched by your concern for him, Nikki. Truly. But as you can see, I am the one who is here. I am the one who escaped. Fade out. Lobby, later. The initial shock has worn off. Victoria and Kyle are off to the side, Kyle frantically trying to get through to Maryland authorities. Nick is talking to Adam. Victor is sitting with Nikki at a small table. He's sipping a scotch. Nikki is still pale. Victor, you should go home, Nikki. You need to rest. Nikki, I can't rest until I know everyone is okay. Victor, everyone will be okay. It's a tragedy, yes, but those people are resilient. And Jack Abbott? Well, the devil looks after his own. Nikki, Victor, stop it. This isn't the time for your petty grievances. Victor, leaning in. Is it petty, Nikki? I walk through the door having escaped a natural disaster, and your first thought is for the man who has tried to destroy my company for 40 years. Nikki, my first thought was for you. But I am a human being, Victor. Care about. He's the father of my grandson. Victor, sighing, fine. Fine. I will have my security team track him down. Get you a report within the hour. Satisfied. Nikki nods, but as she looks at him, the gray haze returns. Victor's face begins to double. 2 Victors, then 3, overlapping in a nauseating blur. Reaches out to steady herself, her hand knocking over her water glass. Victor and Nikki. What is it? Nikki faintly. The lights. They're too bright. Victor, Nick. Get over here. Nick and Adam rush over. Nick, what happened? Victor, she's dizzy. Nikki, look at me. Nikki tries to focus. She sees Victor's mouth moving, but the sound is muffled, like he's underwater. She blinks, and for a second she can't see anything at all, just a terrifying blank white void. Nikki, I can't. Victor, I can't see you. Victor, his voice cracking with real fear. What do you mean you can't see me? I'm right here. Nick, call an ambulance. Nick, on it. Adam, wait, look at her eyes. They're not tracking. Nikki, whispering, it's dark. Why is it so dark? Victor grabs her shoulders, his bravado completely gone. The man who just escaped a tornado is now powerless against the enemy inside his wife's own body. Victor, Nikki. Stay with me. Nikki. Lobby. Continuous. The paramedics burst through the door. The crowd parts. Victoria and Kyle watch in horror as Nikki is lifted onto a gurney. Victoria, Mom. Victor, to the paramedics. I am Victor Newman. You take care of her, you hear me. You do whatever is necessary. The lead paramedic nods, working quickly. Paramedic, sir, we need you to step back. We're checking her vitals. Victor stands there, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. He looks at the briefcase he dropped earlier. Scuff. He looks at his family, his children, all united in fear. He looks at Kyle, who is still holding his phone, looking lost. Victor, low, guttural. You tell your father. If he survived that storm just to cause my wife more stress, I'll finish what the tornado started. Kyle doesn't even respond. He's staring at the door as the paramedics wheel Nikki out. The camera pans across the lobby. We see Audra and Nate in the background there. Civil conversation, forgotten as they witness the Newman collapse. We see Adam, his face a mask of grief and guilt, looking at Chelsea. Finally, we zoom in on Victor. He stands alone in the center of the lobby. Light hits the silver in his hair. He looks every bit the king of Genoa City, but for the first time in years, he looks like a king who knows his empire is built on sand. On the television in the background, the news anchor speaks. Reports are coming. Jack Abbott has been located. He is being treated for minor injuries at a Maryland Field Hospital.